All right. Hello? Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that is definitely true. I did spill milk in the Street Storms. It stunk. The janitors couldn't figure it out. I guess now and you guys, but we're still only 6 people who know what happened. Um, so, yeah, I'm Reece. I am a first year intern here with crew in Pomona Valley. I graduated last year from Cal Poly Pomona, and I graduated with an agricultural business degree. But now the Lord led me here, so it's a joy to come talk to you guys. I'm going to be talking through. I'll be introducing our next series for this quarter. The theme is going to be Jesus is. Hang on. Okay. So, anyways, I guess I'll stand here. It's just like right in the middle. But anyways, so the theme is going to be Jesus is, and so the reason why we wanted to do a series called Jesus is because we wanted to go through the characteristics of Jesus in order to have a more holistic view of who he is in our lives and how he shapes us. So our desire for this series is to see students grow in an understanding of Jesus, have a deeper intimacy with Jesus, and that in hopes that it will lead towards the culture of evangelism in our movement. This is just something that's super important to me. As I became a Christian in college, I understood who Jesus was my first year of accepting Jesus, but I really just didn't know what to do. I didn't understand the purpose behind it. I knew God had a plan for me, but I didn't understand the bigger picture of the purpose. And then, I got invited to crew, came to weekly meeting, and then the fall retreat of my third year came and changed my life. I finally grabbed hold of who God was and truly understood who he is in my life and started following him in a deeper way. And then understanding that love. And then I remember the winter conference, not a shameless plug for winter conference, but you should go. During winter conference, I remember it was about making disciples, and I understood that bigger picture of what God has called us to do. Through that winter conference, I remember just being told that I can be a disciple too. And I actually just remembered this as watching the videos, but I picked up this little candle that said to the ends of the earth, and not understanding what God meant by that. And then a month later, I remember being invited out to prayer and share. I went out to prayer and share, nervous as heck. Chanel took me, but I just got to understand why we share our faith, what this purpose was that God has for us in our lives to help people understand this love that we have. And it comes first through understanding who Jesus is in our lives and understanding the love that he has for us. And this love is meant to change us inwards and allow us this outward expression of who Jesus is. And this is why evangelism is really important in my life and how it shaped me to be the Christian that I am today. And I want us to understand, as we go through this talk, the most important thing that I want us to remember is that the fruit that we bear comes from what we love the most. So, with that, I'm going to pray us in. Father God, I thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak to crew. I thank you that you've led me to this point, Lord. Just wholly surrender, God. I just thank you so much for the way you've changed my heart, allowed me to see the desires of your heart, to share it with everyone here in the Pomona Valley, God. Lord, I pray that through this talk that people understand your holiness. I pray that they fall deeper in love with you, God. God, I pray that they follow you. I pray that they understand what it looks like to be shaped into the man and the woman of Christ that you desire us to be. God, I just thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Let me be reminded that this is your talk and not mine. Jesus, I pray this in your name. Amen. All right. So, with that, the topic of the talk will be Jesus is the source of our life. So, let's go to John 15, 1 through 11. And I'll give you some time for that. Okay. I guess it's not going to be up there. That's okay. I'll definitely read it to you guys. So it says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. So the reason that I went through this one was it just really stems from who Jesus is truly in my life and who I hope Jesus is to be in your life. That we really see that the way that we love Jesus affects the way we live our lives and the fruit that we bear. And as we jump into the first point, I want us to see that Jesus desires for us to always bear more fruit. So the first thing that I want us to see, perfect, it's up there. So the first thing that I want us to see is that right here in the first verse, Jesus makes it very clear who he is. He says, I am the vine, and then he makes it really clear who the Father is. He says, the Father is the vine dresser. And if we look what a vine dresser is someone who prunes, trains, and cultivates. And this is the Father that loves us. The Father that cultivates us, that prunes and trains us to become more like Jesus so that we may understand his desires. So then in verse 2, Jesus describes the two types of branches. So we have the branch that bears no fruit and is thrown away. Then we have the branch that bears fruit and is pruned. I want us to see that that there is a branch out there, and if you are this branch that bears no fruit, what is the result of this is you can understand who Jesus is. You can be this branch. You can understand who Jesus is. You can know all the scripture in the world. You can go and serve in church. You can do all these different things. But unless you truly know who Jesus is in your heart, there will be no fruit. So as we look at this, we look at the second branch that bears fruit. We see the differences, how this branch is grasped onto Jesus, how this branch bears fruit because of who Jesus is in their life. And then it says, to add on to that, Jesus says that God prunes his heart. And as an agricultural business major, I totally got this. So, I just love the way that Jesus talked about pruning. He shows us how God doesn't just desire for us to bear fruit, but to bear more fruit. There's this more aspect to it. So the purpose of pruning is to actually make a sweeter fruit, to make a better fruit, and to also have more abundant fruit. So this is what the Lord's doing. As we have this heart posture of loving Jesus, that we understand that he's shaping us, he's growing, and he's tending to this fruit that we have, and he's making it more. He's making it plentiful. He's making it sweeter. Jesus doesn't just desire a mediocre fruit. He wants this. He wants this really sweet, juicy fruit from all of us, right? And he desires this fruit for his glory, and he desires it because he's worthy. I think as the more that I understood what it looked like to be a Christian and to follow Jesus after Winter Conference, after learning how to share the gospel, there were times where Jesus would just, he would come to my heart and just tell me, convict me of like this desire that I had to play more sports, to watch sports, to spend more time at work that I wanted, and to this time that I wanted to use to spend hanging out with my roommate and playing video games until 1 a.m. As I already saw what Jesus was doing in my life, he was continuing to knock down these things, these different things in my life that I valued, that I loved so much, to use this time for himself, so I may become a sweeter and bear more sweet fruit for him. It wasn't easy, but I can tell you the end result was so much better. And the intimacy that I've grown with Jesus has been so much deeper, and that I can tell you I love Jesus more because of this time that I've given to him. This isn't just something that happens overnight, but it's a posture that we have to take up with Jesus, that he calls us to. Which leads us to the next point. Evangelism stems from Jesus. So we ask, like, how are we to bear this fruit that God desires? I want us to look at verse 4. He very specifically commands us and says, abide in me and I in you. This isn't a suggestion. Jesus literally told us, abide in me and I in you. And this is the posture that he asks us to take up. He says to abide in him. And as we look at the word abide, I took it back and to look at the Greek translation. The Greek word for abide means meno, which it means to stay or to remain. So Pomona Valley, if we want to be a ministry that focuses on building lifelong disciples and bringing others to know who Jesus is, we need to remain with him. He needs to be our vine, and he needs to be our source of life. As we abide in Jesus, we should come to a deeper understanding of who he is. We give more of him, or we give more of ourselves to him. And then as we do this, we understand his desires for our lives. And as we understand his desires, his desires become our desires. So then we look into verse 7. Verse 7 says, if you abide in me, my words abide in you. Ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. And Jesus isn't just saying, go ahead and ask for anything, and he'll provide it for us. He's saying that, if you look at it, he's saying, if you abide in me, and my words abide in you. This is this heart posture, that we understand his desires for our lives. And as we lean back and really listen to the heart of Jesus, that our desires will be the same as his desires. And therefore, when we ask, it will be done for us, because these are the desires of Jesus. This is how he longs to use us in the world. I think the best example that I can share with you guys is this past winter break. I got to share the gospel with one of my best friends from back home. It was just one of the sweetest moments. Since Thanksgiving, since I saw him last, I got to just start praying for him. I think prayer night really triggered it for me, and that question of like, what would happen if we prayed? I started praying for him every day. He's a history major from UCLA, and I just started praying for God to knock down all this knowledge of Christianity that he's gained through his history classes, for him to be able to see who Jesus was. And lo and behold, I'm sitting there with him one night on his couch, and we got to talking, and I just got to hear all the hurt that he had in his life, and I just saw and know how Jesus can change his life and grab hold of who he is. A couple nights later, we grabbed coffee, and then I got to talk to him and just share. And I got to share with him who Jesus is. And this isn't because of anything that I did. It's because the Lord answered the prayer and the desire that I had for him, and that was the same that God's desire was for him. So God's desire was the same for him and as my desire, because my heartbeat was close with his, because I understood more what he wanted. And then so now I want us to look at verse 8. It says, "By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples." This verse just took me back when I read it. I've read this a few times, but like this time it just really took me back and was like, wow, that my life can glorify God was huge. It just, this holy God, the one that breathed creation, and that through us as people running away from him, and just his constant pursuit and his salvation for us, it was so crazy to see that me as a sinner could glorify him as I abide in who he is. And it's just, I just got taken back by God's love in that moment. And it's just so sweet to see how holy he is, but how much he loves us all. Then I want us to go through verse 10 and 11 now, or 9 through 11. So it says, "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love." He's giving us more specific instructions on how to abide in his love. "And that these things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." Guys, our joy doesn't come from anything else of this world. All these other joys that are like hanging out with your roommate till 1 a.m., these joys of even just watching sports and getting to spend time, just, I don't know, sitting there for hours just watching a game, where the team doesn't even know who you are, does not matter. We need to lean back on Jesus and abide in his love for us. And this is where our joy will come. It says, your joy may be full. This full joy that we experience is from Jesus, as long as we abide in his love. Guys, I want us to remember that the fruit that we bear comes from what we love the most. If we abide in this love, we will bear fruit for the Lord. And with that, I just want to pray us out. God, I pray that our lives just abide in you. I pray that we bear fruit for you, God. I pray that we take this posture of surrender to you, God, where we allow you to prune our lives to look more like you, to bear a sweeter fruit for you, Jesus. I pray that we are able to go out and be emboldened to share your gospel, Jesus. Lord, I pray that other people get the chance to hear your love, because we understand that the love that you've given us has changed our heart and has empowered us to go and share your word, Jesus. I just lift this all up in your name. I pray that we walk out of here and share the gospel with people, whether it's after this meeting or even next week or throughout the rest of this school year. Lord, I just pray that we love you. We remain in you. Jesus, I pray this in your name.